Lola is a junior at Central High School in Davenport. She also happens to be Iowa Student Poet Ambassador. We're just thrilled that she would come all the way from Davenport to be here. Lola was, in 2001 and 2022, she was an intern at the Midwest Writers Young Emerging Writers Program, and she was published in the Atlas Writing Literary Magazine, as well as her school literary magazine, which is called Indigo Inc. When not writing or reading, she's either playing the piano, the trombone, or marching baritone. She's a veteran of marching band and show choir, and she enjoys listening to music, eating soup, and collecting photos of Romance-era paintings. She plans to attend college for teaching and creative writing. So Lola, we're thrilled to have you here.
There's only 3 hours in the car and my mom was driving, so it wasn't that bad. Probably got to drive on the way back, but I'm okay on the interstate. I have about 3 poems and I have 15 minutes, right? I've got a timer too, so I'm just gonna start now because I hate going over. But I've got 3 poems, so I'm just gonna start off with an ekphrastic poem that I wrote because I realized that there was gonna be an ekphrastic workshop, which I attended earlier. This was not written there, that'd be way too soon. But I wrote it a couple months ago and I figured, oh, this would be nice to read after an ekphrastic workshop. It's called Sturban, or Egon Schiele Draws His Wife, and I'll explain it at the end because that ruins it. The pencil in my hand is slick with sweat, and I struggle to keep it stable in my hands, keep from shaking. Your nose is running, mine is too, Edith. I don't have the strength to lean over and clean your face, but I want to. I do, Edith, I want to try. I'm trying to draw you as you write. You are a mess of charcoal swirls on paper. Now, instead of laying on the bed, I've drawn you upright. So I can, instead of seeing you rest and wither and decay, I can imagine you're standing, maybe at the window, reaching out a hand to touch my face, smiling. I can imagine you aren't dying in front of me. I can imagine I'm not dying either. All good things are supposed to come in threes. You, me, and the baby that is trying to stay alive inside you. It's fitting that we all leave together. I can see you struggling to stay awake. I am asking you to sleep. Whatever kills you, I think, dies with me. I am enough of an egoist to believe that it all dies when I do, but in reality, Edith, you've taken everything from me. And don't worry, I know it's not your fault, but I need something to blame. Don't worry, I'll find it. You can rest. I'll braid your hair back if I can stop my hands from shaking. And I've dropped everything, of course. You know me, Edith, always too clumsy, a little too weak. And of course I'm crying, Edith. Of course I'm crying because I don't know what I'm doing, and I need you to tell me what to do. And I am so afraid. Just so you know, Edith, I'm going to follow you, close behind, so you don't have to cradle the baby for long, so you don't have to be alone. I can feel it pulling me to sleep now. Until then, you're free to haunt me, pulling me down to wherever you'll be, whatever comes after. October 28th, 1918, Edith Sheila Ney Harms dies 6 months pregnant after contacting the Spanish flu. October 31st, 1918, Egon Schiele, her husband, the famed artist, dies after contacting the Spanish flu. Yeah, he was a fantastic artist, a little crazy, but the best ones are. And he drew a lot of just like plain charcoal sketches or pencil sketches, and one of the things that is one of my favorite pieces of his is a sketch that he drew of his wife as she was dying, as they were both dying of the Spanish flu pandemic. The second one I read is a little more lighthearted. It's about my dad, and it's good, don't worry. But he is sick with a cold right now.
Yeah, just as a cold.
Yeah, so I figured I'd read something for him. It's titled Football or Something for My Dad. The first football game, which I'm going to refer to as football because it was English football, and I will hate myself if I call it soccer. Never mind. The first football game I ever watched with my dad was an Arsenal versus Liverpool match. I think I was 16. My dad is an Arsenal fan. I forget why. I could ask, but I don't think that it matters. His friend's an Arsenal fan, I think. His friend in London, Sean. I remember Arsenal lost the match. I wasn't raised in a household where we watched a lot of sports. I mean, we watched the Super Bowl for the commercials. And only this year I asked my dad to explain American football to me. I am still very shaky with the concept and rules, but this football made sense. You kick it into a goal and you score. Even the strange and shaky words like offside and hat trick and tiki-taka made sense to me. I wanted to understand. My dad would text me Arsenal versus Man City, and I would run downstairs, and he'd have the TV on, and we'd watch the match play out. I liked making fun of their haircuts. He liked explaining things to me when I asked. He told me about the players when they got fouled or did something stupid and somehow didn't get fouled. When the World Cup started last year, we spent all of Thanksgiving break alternating between the dinner table and the living room, watching with the rest of the world. I remember standing in the door between the two rooms, watching Portugal play Ghana. I remember telling him the score every time and telling him that I thought the Portuguese team was tricky, me personally. I remember watching the US-England match and being so disappointed that it ended in a tie that nothing even happened. I remember early Sunday morning watching Argentina play France with my dad and the craziness that followed, 7,204 miles away, but now unfolding on the screen in front of me. My dad and I throwing our hands up at every goal. When I went to England to perform in the New Year's Day parade with the marching band, we went to Windsor to sightsee. I found a little shop full of tourists and tea, but I saw an Arsenal scarf, and I'd abstained from spending due to exchange rates. But I grabbed it and showed it to my friend, and I told her, my dad loves Arsenal. I have to buy this for him. I have to love this. I like football with my dad. I like listening to him explain how, 10 years ago, this would be impossible to even think of, or doing the VAR box movement that the referees do, or wondering aloud if they'll play on if a guy decides to fake an injury. I liked how when I asked him during a City match, Dad, what's a hat trick? He explained it, no questions. It is so simple, but it made me happy. I like sitting in the kitchen with him and saying, Dad, who do you think will win the league? Dad, did you hear Messi's going to Miami? And he will keep cooking dinner, of course, but he'll tell me, well, he'll be close to Argentina, won't he? Dad, Jude Bellingham's going to Madrid. Dad, he's in the Bundesliga, I know that, but what team, Dad? He'll say Borussia Dortmund, and my brother will say, who's Jude Bellingham? And Dad, he was on the national team, he was great. My dad will smile and say, oh yeah, he's fantastic. Yeah, he's a great player. What a player he is. Going back and forth and being the same voice. I like telling my friends what he tells me whenever I put on football at work, saying, yeah, they do that all the time. They're just trying to get stoppage time, slow down the other team's momentum, explain relegation, explain the magic spray the medics use, explain what he told me. My dad brought football to me. My dad brought the world to our living room. He brought the world to me. The next poem I've got, maybe the last, I don't know, but I wrote about a historical figure, and it's dedicated to two friends of mine, Grace Brandt and Alvin Moulton, who are not poets, but are very deeply involved in everything but that, like music and mock trial, and this is sort of based on all their experiences they told me about basically just being women in workforces or just places that tend to be either dominated by men or men would prefer to dominate. It's titled Teenage Girls and Their Camaraderie with Eugene of Savoy. And it starts off with a quote from the memoirs of Prince Eugene of Savoy. It's a little strange, but there is not a Huguenot expelled by the revolution of the Edict of Nantes who hated Louis XV more than I did. Therefore, Moulivat heard of my departure, saying, so much the better. He will never return into this country again. I swore never to enter it, but with arms in my hand. I have kept my word. For a technical explanation, Eugene of Savoy was raised in the French court. At 19, he wanted to join the military, but due to a scandal that his mother was involved in, where she tried to kill the king Louis XV denied his entry. So Eugene of Savoy transferred his loyalty to the Holy Roman Empire and Emperor Leopold, and led a successful military career spanning 6 decades. Teenage girls have a sense of camaraderie with Eugene of Savoy. Teenage girls are very, very used to being less, or everyone thinking you are less because you are a teenage girl. And being a teenage girl is the goddamn worst anyway, I gotta be honest. All you want to be is more. All you want is more. And time again you are denied because you are a teenage girl. You want everyone to love and adore you, and you want to burn everything to the ground at the same time. Teenage girls contain multitudes. You could eat the world whole. You could create a new one if you wanted to. But according to everyone else, for some reason, that bitchy hormonal boy next to you is somehow better than you when you have done twice the work and you have done twice as good. Everybody knows this. Nobody does anything. That anger sticks with you. It doesn't leave. That anger is what gets you to leave. If they won't appreciate what you're going to give to them, you're going to make those who cast you aside regret it. There is a dream in you. There is this beautiful dream, one where you keep your word and you return and you have proven that you are better, and that everyone else who ever doubted you or ignored you has to face their horrible reality. You know exactly what you are, and they do too. You are better.
Thank you, Lola.